You better sit down for this. A journalist and a researcher on UFOs presented at a meeting in Mexico yesterday, presented the remains of what he said were non-human beings. This guy, Jamie Maussan, brought 2 boxes. This is according to CBS News. He brought 2 boxes containing what he said were the small stuffed bodies of extraterrestrials recovered in the country of Peru in 2017. He said that carbon-14 data carried out by the National Autonomous University of Mexico had determined the remains were 700 and 1,800 years old. There are 2 of them. And each of the figures has 3 fingers on each hand and elongated heads, resembling, at least superficially, the Hollywood character E.T. Still with me? Mr. Maussan told the lawmakers, the Mexican lawmakers, while he was urging them to consider the reality here, he said it should be viewed as a political topic. He called it should be a topic for humanity. But he said, quote, "This is the first time extraterrestrial life is presented in such a form, and I think there is a clear demonstration that what we are dealing with, these non-human specimens, are not related to any other species on our world," end quote. And he said DNA evidence could prove the specimens were not of this planet, but it wasn't clear if any such tests had been carried out yet. What do you want to bet that they haven't been? Now, there was a previous claim by this guy about these non-human remains discovered in Peru, but that first claim had been debunked, though the specimens he presented yesterday in Mexico City appeared different from the one he previously spoke about in 2015. Boop, 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 boop. Now, this hearing in Mexico was to debate language on what Mexico is coming up with, the Aerial Space Protection Law, which, if approved, would turn Mexico into the first country to formally acknowledge the presence of alien life existing on Earth. That's according to Reuters news agency and CBS. Now, this guy, Maussan, who appears regularly in Mexico media to present his research and reporting on UFOs, he was joined at the hearing in the Mexican Congress lower chamber of deputies. He was joined by a former U.S. Navy pilot who recently made a similar case to U.S. politicians in Washington. Ryan Graves, the executive director of the Americans for Safe Aerospace Organization. Americans for Safe Aerospace, I guess that's the name of it. But this guy told the Mexican politicians that he founded the group after, quote, recognizing the need for action and answers, end quote. He also said this yesterday: "We believe that UFOs represent an urgent priority for both aerospace safety and scientific inquiry. Our focus is on improving public education of UFOs, breaking stigma, and working toward better transparency and disclosure," and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. There's more of the article. You can find it at cbs.com, I'm sure. But, I have certain suspicions about alien life. First of all, I absolutely do not accept the idea that we are the only sentient creatures in the entire universe. Maybe so in our solar system, but definitely not our own galaxy. But as far as these little creatures, well, maybe. Maybe not. I would like to see these little creatures turned over to real science to, with all transparency, examine and DNA test and really take a look at what's going on here. But I doubt if that'll happen, right? All right, subscribers, I'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe. I'm Mike Malloy. An independent group of scientists and experts convened by NASA to investigate the UFO story. They have released their report, ta-da, and they said they found no evidence that UFOs are extraterrestrial in nature. But they did stress that better data is needed so they can understand some encounters that have defied explanation. Okay. Now, this group was put together by NASA, 16 experts, and it was put together last year. Remember when they decided they were going to check it out? And the goal was to examine how NASA can better contribute to the scientific understanding of the shit that's flying around in our atmosphere. There's something flying around our atmosphere, right? Yeah, of course there is. Hundreds of military, commercial pilots, all civilians, all kinds of people have seen this stuff. Anyway, it's well, I'll share this with you. It's formally known, according to CBS, it's formally known as the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Independent Study. Unidentified anomalous phenomena. That's what they want us to call these things that go whiz across the sky. No longer UFOs. Now they're supposed to be UAPs. I'll stick with UFOs. I'm familiar with UFOs. All right? All right. So anyway, this group issued a report today, final report, 36 pages. And there were several recommendations about how NASA can use its scientific expertise to contribute to these investigations into the UFOs. You see, the report doesn't say this is bullshit, people are hallucinating. What they're saying is, nah, they're not extraterrestrial. How in the hell would they know that? But, okay, they're experts. I am just an average person. I'm not an expert. At least not in this. Well, not in anything, really. Anyway, but the NASA administrator, Bill Nelson, a former member of Congress, you remember him, I think he was a former senator. He said at a briefing this morning about the findings, he said this, quote, "The top takeaway from the study is that there's a lot more to learn." Okay. He added, quote, "The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UFOs have an extraterrestrial origin, but we don't know what these UFOs are." End quote, Bill Nelson. Now, what does the NASA UFO report really say? I don't have it in front of me, but I have some quotes. First of all, the report doesn't contain any bombshell claims, like the congressional testimony that made headlines over the summer. That's when a former intelligence officer claimed that there were a decades-long government program to retrieve and reverse engineer UFO craft. And the Defense Department said, oh, bullshit, we're not doing that. What would make you think we're doing that? We're not doing that. Honestly, we're not doing that. We'd never do that. We're not doing that. Yeah. And instead, this NASA group focused on examining how the space agency can, quote, contribute to a comprehensive government-wide approach to collecting future data, end quote, about these UFO incidents. And a relatively new office within the Defense Department. It's now open. It's known as the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. And this new sub-department, whatever the hell it is in the Defense Department, has taken the lead in collecting and examining UFO reports from military pilots. And how many were there? Well, in May, there were 800. But there's no there. Come on. Relax. Go back to, lusting after a 70-inch television. Forget about this UFO shit, right? 800 reports from military pilots in 1 month? 800? What is that? 25 a day? Oh, my goodness. Now, this NASA report that was issued this morning, it relies on unclassified information. Okay, well, There you go right there. If it's all unclassified information, what the hell do you think is in there? Just stuff that is not going to panic you and me, right? I know what I'm sounding like today. I sounded crazy yesterday. I'm probably crazier today. But anyway, the report relied on unclassified information. And the report noted that a small subset of UFO encounters, quote, cannot be immediately identified as known human-made or natural phenomena, end quote. Well, then, what the hell is it, boys? I mean, come on, don't be a tease. If it can't be identified as human-made or natural, well, then that means it would be unhuman-made or unnatural, wouldn't it? Something? I don't know. Yeah, 800 reports in May. So anyway, again, the NASA report said that trying to understand these incidents that can't be understood right now, quote, will require new and robust data acquisition methods, advanced analysis techniques, a systematic reporting framework, and reducing reporting stigma, end quote. Yeah, a lot of pilots, especially military pilots, especially commercial pilots, are loath to report the shit that they see for fear that they're going to be labeled a kook and maybe lose their job. Right? What else? This NASA report. The NASA report said there is a high bar for claiming that the objects have an otherworldly origin. That means it's going to be harder to claim that. This is what the report said also. Quote, in the search for life beyond Earth, extraterrestrial life itself must be the hypothesis of last resort. The answer we turn to only after ruling out all other possibilities. As Sherlock Holmes said, quote, once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth, end quote. That's what the report said. And the report went on, quote, to date, in the peer-reviewed scientific literature, there is no conclusive evidence suggesting an extraterrestrial origin for UFOs. When it comes to UFOs, the challenge we have is that the data needed to explain these anomalous sightings often do not exist. Right. So what is necessary to explain what the hell people are seeing, the data, the information, none of it exists. So what does that mean? Well, it means this report went on for a year and we get this bullshit conclusion, right? Anyway. What else? The group, the NASA, the investigating group, said, it's not really, I guess it is a NASA group. Anyway, they said that the commercial satellite industry does have the capability to take higher resolution images. Yeah, have you ever noticed that when you see these images of UFOs, they're impossible to look at without, feeling like you're going to faint from the way the goddamn things jump around. Whoever's taking the images, whoever's taking the videos, come on, y'all, calm the fuck down a little bit. Just, focus your camera and show us something and not this. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.